So I came to India. I wanted to do something in foods. I did my research for almost 1.5 years.
How did you come up with this Smart 11 as a name? What does the Smart 11 mean? I mean, I'm just intrigued to know what is Smart 11.
There's
Renamed a lot of our products as Smart, Smart Internet and Smart VPN and Smart Cloud telephony services, So Modi ji
I
has
will get you happy. I don't know if I'm
yeah,
allowed to. Ashish, tell me, or you can just
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
oh, okay,
sure.
but
Why not?
yes,
Why not? Why not?
okay. This
Wow.
is where it goes. I just put it closer to, I don't know. Anyway, send the pictures to you.
Namaste, everyone. I'm Ashish Singh, and I welcome you all on Startup Tales. Startup Tales is the platform where we bring the fascinating stories of those brave men and women who give up the comfortable job and went ahead against all odds on the way of entrepreneurship. So today we have one such guest. But first of all, let me introduce today's host, Mr. Vikrant Panchal. Hi, Vikrant.
Hi Ashish, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Let me tell something about Vikrant. He is the founder director of Multiplier, a Tata Tele growth partner and a telecom consultant. Multiplier is a one-stop shop for telecom products like voice, data, SaaS, cloud telephony, collaborative solutions, and a telecom consulting firm. So over to Vikrant. Vikrant, it's your show. Please carry on.
Yeah, sure. So Ashish, as thanks for introduction, and it's nice to be here. And we will quickly get our co-host Shreya. We will introduce our. Okay, so Shreya is here, right? So we have Shreya and who is our co-host, and we also have Krishna, who is our guest for the day. So Shreya, I'll just give you a quick introduction about Shreya. Shreya Krishnan is an EVP Marketing and Communications at Aon. She heads the Center of Excellence for Marketing Governance, Planning and Strategy for APAC, and heads marketing for all the Aon businesses in India. Uh, she is a champion of inclusion and diversity, and she recently also co-authored a book titled "Words Matter: The Language That Girls Need to Speak." This book is a compilation of 40 words that help the reader to choose their vocabulary in a way that allows them to redefine how human beings are treated. Not only that, she is also a former corporate diva and Mrs. India Universe 2017. Also works in the space of activism, dance, theater, poetry, blogging, modeling, acting. I mean, you name it, and she's doing it. She considers herself as an earth warrior and is an event anchor and trainer. So, welcome, Shreya, as a co-host. You are you're looking pretty today.
Happy to be here.
Yeah,
Looking forward to this.
yeah. And I'll quickly introduce Krishna also. Krishna Kanthwala, she holds a master's degree in business administration with marketing specialization from University of Pune. She has been into marketing since last 15 years and has a large experience in integrated marketing, communication, brand development, and business development. She worked across diverse industries such as technology, luxury, retail, electronics, and manufacturing, including brands like Worldspace, Jilly, Nakshatra, etc. In her last assignment, she worked as a global brand manager for a luxury tech company in Singapore, handling global markets like US, Middle East, and Japan. Having marketed eco-friendly diamonds, she eventually decided to get into her own business and sell and market eco-friendly food initiative that caters to $100 billion global health and market food market. So hence she got into this business, and her startup is called Smart 11. So welcome, Krishna. We really look forward to having some exciting time with you on this interview.
Thank you so much, Vikrant, for inviting me on this show. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, Ashish, as well. And I'm really excited to share my journey with all of you and our audience. Thank you.
Sure, sure. So, Krishna, to start off with, I mean, why don't you tell us something about yourself, your background, how you became a startup owner, and when did you get this idea of starting this Smart 11 as a company?
Sure. Vikrant, I will give you a bit about my background, how my my career has taken off. Like you've already mentioned, thank you so much for the details. I've done my MBA, and after that, I have been working for almost 15 years in my life. But since actually I come from a Gujarati family, I always have been fascinated by business. My parents are entrepreneurs. Most of my family members are into business, so I believe it's something which is like naturally come to me. I This is not my first entrepreneurship stint. I had a business into a high-end artificial jewelry in 2011. I had a couple of stores in a couple of very good malls like Amara, Jewel Square, etc. in Pune. I am basically based out of Pune, Maharashtra.
Okay.
It was a fabulous thing because it was very exciting. I started and I got success very easily. I just saw like money pouring in, and I was like, okay, I've achieved everything in my life. And suddenly, the mall which was doing so well, they gave us a 1 month notice, and they kind of just said that we are shutting down the mall because there's a lot of competition coming around. And
Okay.
I kind of got a reality check that this is not how life works. And my other stores were not that strong, and I had to eventually shut down my business, and I had to move back to corporate. So because you always have, you have the degree or experience, the corporate journey is easy, but that's not what I wanted to do always. After
Right.
that, I started working at multiple places, and I finally started contemplating an option about what is it that I want to do apart from just doing this job. Because you're a marketing person, you have a team, you have multiple agencies who are working for you. You're just doing the strategy and the thought process. So it is good at the time, but after a point it got sort of monotonous because I've been working in the luxury industry, so it's more of like the glam world, etc. I didn't really feel that it was something which I was enjoying after a point. I didn't think that it was adding any value because, yeah, diamond has a lot of value to women, right, Shreya? But but like after a point, what so that is when I decided that okay, that I need to see something else, which gives me like higher satisfaction in my work. Last when I was working in Singapore, I have this small story which I want to share with you all about
Sure,
how
sure.
this journey started. So when I was working out there, and I had a lot of friends from multiple countries across the world, their food habits are very different. And since that was my first experience going out of India, and I was directly working, I had a lot of issue, in terms of accepting the food and the culture out there. Because here any part of India you go, there's still we are Indians. You get your kind of food. There it was difficult. I'm a vegetarian. It was very difficult, unless I, when I discovered a certain Indian places. Before that, for the first month, 1 month, it was difficult for me. I gradually adapted to that. I saw that, once, when I went out and I saw like, some of my friends who are like Singaporeans, they eat a lot of this amaranth and buckwheat. So they are health conscious. They buy our products. These things generally come from India. हम लोग यहाँ पे we just eat it probably during fasting or something. We have these grains. For them it was something which they have on a daily basis. They call it superfood, and they make all their bread and bakery products out of it. And
Right.
what do? We actually go to a McDonald's, and we enjoy our white breads along with a lot of oil. So it kind of
Quick fix.
bothered. Yes, and
Hi, Vikrant.
I moved back to India. I wanted to do something in foods. I did my research for almost 1.5 years, and I would definitely call millets as my inner calling because it's something ragi, jawar, bajra. All of us eat in our homes. Irrespective of which part of the country we come from, but we generally use it for a very traditional way, like there's a chapati or a khichdi. That's not fun because so many of us probably don't know. I know cooking, but I don't know very elaborate cooking, or probably I don't have time after my long working hours. So I knew that that bit which was missing, especially in the urban spaces. When you're working the whole day, or you have kids to take care of, and plus a job. When you come home, you want to do something which is easy, but it like satiates your hunger. And it has to be healthy, because how much of noodles and burgers and pasta we want to eat which is unhealthy. We all know, like what, and I'm not trying to put any company down, but we know what McDonald's and KFC serve us. We know it is unhealthy, but then we feel, oh, it's a once in a while indulgence which has become now very regular, especially for children. So this is something which I really wanted to work upon. After my research, I knew that this millets is something which naturally makes a person fit and healthy. Buckwheat, amaranth, all is a part of the millets family. The small grains, what we call, they are easy to digest. They are very high on fiber. So that is how, and they're very rich in protein, micronutrients, something which basically makes you healthy from inside. Instead of, if you just cut down a bit on your rice and wheat, and if you replace with millets, you will definitely see a change in your mind and body. So
And
now,
what
what was the next step? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
and what how did you come up with this Smart 11 as a name? What does the Smart 11 mean? I mean, I'm just intrigued to know what is Smart 11.
there are two things behind it. I'll tell you both the story because एक secret है पर बता देती हूँ मैं अभी क्या है. One, there are 11 type of millets actually. The major
Oh,
millets, we have more than 30 millets, but 11 are the major millets. So that is how 11 the number. Smart because the government of India and worldwide, like universities, etc., who work on these small grains call millets as next smart foods, next
smart food.
generation smart foods. Haji, because they take only 1/10 of the water which is used by the main paddy crop. So that is the reason they're like a very sustainable crop. They're good for the climate. They're good for the marginal farmers because they don't really need a lot of fertilizers, etc. So that is the reason even a poor farmer can easily grow, a very rich variety of millets. And like I mentioned sometime back, it is very good for our health. If you want to be naturally fit and healthy, like millets is your way of diet where you should
Go to grain.
concentrate. Haji. So considering this Smart and 11, these are the two ways I just came up with this name. However, on an emotional side, since I'm a devotee of Lord Krishna, and 11 is the Ekadashi number, so it kind of just
Uh, lot of
coincided,
things
and
are cohesive here, right?
yes,
The
yes, yes.
smart internet from Tata. So when I connect with you separately, I will talk to you about smart internet and how you can have a better image on your video calling. Smart, of course, is the today's buzzword. We also at
Yes.
Tata have renamed a lot of our products as smart. Smart internet and smart VPN and smart cloud telephony services. So Modi ji has
Smart
given
Yeah,
us
cities.
smart
Yeah,
city.
smart
And
cities,
yes, Modi ji
smartphones.
word smart. The buzzword is smart. Good, good.
Yes, yes, yes.
Nice,
So,
nice.
so
So,
that
so
way,
my next
like if you think that you are smart, then you make a smart decision for your life. You make a smart decision for your, fooding habits. So you make a smart decision by buying smart millets, smart from Smart
correct,
11.
correct, correct. So while we were discussing about your internet services and the lag in your internet services, where we see that there is a little buzz on your screen, that is where we talk about separately. I will talk to you about smart internet and how you can have a better image on your video calling. Shreya, I have one thing to ask you. You have been a beauty pageant winner and a successful marketing professional. So how do you see opportunity for women as entrepreneurs?
But I do
And
remember you had a moment with Mr. Modi also.
yes, 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 that was there. Unfortunately, that was COVID that time, Ashish. Otherwise, we were to have that interaction
I had
face
done a
to
good
face.
research on you, huh?
Question is to Shreya and Krishna, both of you. So today, whenever someone forms a startup, there are various challenges or obstacles that are faced. So how do they overcome these challenges? I mean, what kind of actions do you all take? And Shreya, I mean, if you can also put in some insight to this.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, look at the story of the entrepreneurship, right? So, what Krishna was speaking about, her entire journey, moving from the whole diamond context into food and looking at sustainability and looking at what are ways of sustainably adding value and creating value in the ecosystem in the world that we exist in. So, when you look at entrepreneurial journeys, firstly, there's a lot of dynamic change.
Right.
There's so much of things that are moving, and you're usually trying to fill in a lot of shoes because you're also starting out, which means you're bootstrapped. You're going to have to figure out ways to optimize on efficiency, optimize on skills, optimize on people. So creating that entire environment is fairly stressful, and as entrepreneurs it's also very lonely because you don't essentially usually have somebody. Almost, it's not like an MNC where you have a leadership board or you have this entire sort of people that you can tap into for advice. So leadership in entrepreneurship is slightly more nuanced, is slightly more textured, and needs a lot of self-driven encouragement.
Correct.
And you've heard of all of the stories of startup founders who, really struggle with finding, the right kind of people. There's always so much that's in flux that it becomes difficult to navigate. But how do they do that? I think one is passion. I
Yeah.
see that when you're driven, like when Krishna was speaking about her need and interest in ensuring that people eat healthy, that they change their life, they take pride in the lifestyle and do something with their health, there is a certain passion that sort of sees you through that journey. And I
Hmm.
think that is what usually, if the fire is burning, it's burning because it's fed by that passion. And I think
Exactly.
that's what carries you through. So I think that's beautiful. And thank you, Krishna, for sharing your journey. It's so inspiring to see people finding ways and means to actually add purpose, add value, and create ecosystems that help support the future that is in a form and way that we can actually do better for the planet. So,
No, I
Correct.
think
And this,
a different industry of diamonds. Suddenly, you're getting into a different industry of food grains, and the whole dynamic changes over there from the kind of customers that you're interacting in the diamond market, and to the customers you're interacting in the food market. You're now catering to the masses and not to the classes. So a lot of difference. And other thing is, when you are there in the diamond market, you have created certain brand for you, and now you're trying to create a different kind of a brand for you. So to reach out to people, I think it's really a very challenging task, isn't it, Krishna?
inspiring. Yes.
Uh, to be honest, had it not been for passion, Vikrant, Shreya, Ashish, I wouldn't have sustained because think about this. Shreya, you're a marketing person. We have agencies doing things for us. People line up to come and talk to us. I remember used to have these shootings, etc., and we are meeting actresses and telling them how they're supposed to, talk, and converse, for a particular shoot. And from there, you coming to like a Chaudhary store and like you like भैया आप रख दो पांच पांच पैकेट्स रख दो आप देखो पिकअप होगा नहीं होगा तो मैं
Exactly.
अगले हफ्ते ले लेती हूँ वापस. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it is not easy. It, because as a woman, especially, you are used to a certain way of. I mean, the respect is always there, whichever industry you're working. But there's a certain way with respect, when people are talking, when you're speaking to somebody who's in the FMCG, the distributors, they have a very crass business language you have to catch up in order to
Yeah.
kind of, hold on to, them, convincing them that, you place our products, and if it is not
Mhm.
picking up and they're like, aap leke jao, I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes there was like when I was starting up, I remember I used to myself put the products in the cartons. I used to pack the cartons myself. I started it from my home, and I did
Yeah.
that. And I know that out there, once I would go and would have my team members standing in front of me when I was a marketing person. I would have an ad agency, a PR agency, a social media agency. All that is gone. All that is gone. So all that was because of that position. But it is all worth it because when you see that you are making a difference to somebody's life. And I had somebody who was a almost a 70-year-old man, and he's like, I love noodles but I can't have because of my old age. I have diabetes, and white flour is not good for the health, and I can eat your noodles because they are made out of millets. When that kind of a compliment comes your way, you feel that all of those fears, those anxieties, all of it was worth it because you are making a difference. You are trying to create something which someone somewhere is happy about, is thanking you,
It's a
showing the
satisfying feeling.
gratitude.
It's a satisfying
Absolutely.
feeling. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100 journey. I even have to mention this to you all that I had launched my brand back in 2018
Hmm.
with just 5,000 pieces, to understand that how this picks up. That time, today's time, 2023 is the International Year of Millets. The government of India is doing amazing awareness about millets across the world. But 4 years back, I mean, my mother didn't know that what millet was. She knew Jawan and Bajra. I myself didn't know that millets is a collective term for all the small grains. So
All
from
good.
there, when I was starting, and I started with 5,000 pieces, I put it on Amazon. I did an exhibition in Infosys, and I saw that the response is good. It started on a good note. 2019, there was a bit of a movement. I had somebody who was interested in being an investor support me in the entire FMCG market, and I thought, okay, this has started off well. And COVID came, and boom, everything's over. uh, the investor vanished. My manufacturer wasn't ready to manufacture. Like, ma'am, I don't have people to manufacture the product. So everything, that 2.5 years of effort, everything came crumbling down, and it was a very bad state. I mean, I wouldn't complain because I know that there were people who had established businesses, even they were facing a problem. So I had to kind of sit, think through what I want to do. I had an option, maybe, that I would go back to job. I would easily get a marketing or a brand manager's job easily here, or even abroad. But I, like, no, this is what is my calling, this is what makes me happy. At that time also, I didn't budge, and I feel really proud over myself that I, once things sort of settled, I restarted my journey. I started the entire packaging again. I got more products. I procured my products. I did my flavorings. I worked really hard with my R&D team, my food technologists, to come up with products which can actually, get a good buzz in the market. And May 21, we relaunched our brand by the name of Smart 11. And yes, since then, there's no looking back. We are a 1.5-year-old startup. We've exported to Europe, USA, Australia, a bit to Nepal. In India, we are having our physical distribution bit in Pune. We are starting our, I mean, and that's like a very difficult thing. Offline distribution, oh my God, it's something which is really challenging. And for somebody who's not from food background, somebody who's not from sales background, it is really difficult in terms of, like you all said sometime back.
Some of the photographs of you, Krishna.
My God,
This
you look.
is when there was a first export to Nepal, and it was a truckload of an export. So, and just before that, we had this image by Adil Poonawala, who was sitting on his truck, of full of COVID vaccines.
Okay.
So I just kind of copied, and but the satisfaction was
This
immense. Having your first truckload export. That's our warehouse. We have some people working.
So
yes.
that first image looked like that Krishna chariot, where you're ready to roar, Arjun's chariot, where you're ready to roar with
Manipura.
the things. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, coming back to this discussion that you were having, what I understand from you right now is that there have been a lot of challenges. So I want to know, Krishna, is it different for a woman entrepreneur to have being a woman entrepreneur, and do you think the challenges are different for a woman entrepreneur, for a male entrepreneur, or do you think there are more challenges being a woman entrepreneur in terms of getting all the things organized and how you manage the entire business? So that's what I want to understand.
Uh, because I will not use the cliched saying that women face more difficulties than men.
Yeah,
Entrepreneurs, startup entrepreneurs, yes, we all have the same kind of challenges.
correct.
The certain challenges are something because is I would call it a restriction from within. Something which probably if I as a woman am wanting to be treated in a certain way. As a woman, I'm expecting that because I'm a woman, this should be comfortable, this should be easy for me. I think those are some of the things which, from within, if you are going to feel, if a woman is expecting that, that doesn't happen. I think I would not say that as a woman, I have more challenges because I'm going out. There are people who make my life more difficult. I don't think that is how it is. All of these challenges are as a startup entrepreneur. I would also say that I've had more, men who are supporting my venture. I have more
Okay.
men in terms of friends or acquaintances or mentors who have supported my journey. That doesn't mean that women are not supporting, but probably it is because I'm in the FMCG industry, which is primarily
Correct.
male dominated.
Correct.
You require people who have that kind of an experience. You would have very few women who would be there in the physical FMCG distribution side. So that is the reason I've had more men supporting my venture. When it came to the e-commerce bit, yeah, it was easy because I've done it before, and there are a lot of intelligent and smart women out there who was, a part of this, the whole e-commerce industry. So like I said, that I don't want to say that I face certain challenges because I was a woman. I face because it's the industry I'm in. However, I wouldn't even deny that there are certain issues women face. Something, just I think almost every woman faces. Shreya, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are sometimes you meet people, men who make the wrong advances at you, who
Ah,
have this expectation that I could probably help you from A to B, but then I have a certain expectation. But women in today's time are very intelligent, Vikrant. They sense it. They sense it, and we're not like that bechara types. If I
yeah,
don't get my work, if I don't give up out here, I will not be able to move ahead. Our
right.
job is to ignore such people and never give them a second thought.
Yes,
I
yes.
think strong women very easily do that. But yes, that happens. That happens a lot. So it's up to us that how we navigate through such dangerous people in our lives who probably can come and take away our peace. There could be a possibility that you might think that there might be some opportunities are missed, but then there is always a plan B through which you can achieve it. We are strong enough to do that, rather than in any ways given to such advances. So honestly, if I had recently attended the National Nutri-Cereal Convention, which happened in Hyderabad around 3 months back, where all the
Mr. PM
youth.
Modi.
PM Modi was not there. The Mr. Narendra Tomar had come. He was the Union Minister of Agriculture.
Okay.
He was. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on my LinkedIn and going through my post. You are an FMCG brand and you get into the FMCG market, nobody considers you to be a startup. Nobody considers you to be a woman entrepreneur. Nobody considers you to be, a health brand. You are just an FMCG brand, and you are there, competing with the ITCs and Nestle's of the world. And you have the challenges, so you have to see that how well you can, get through your opportunities. So my challenges
Correct.
have been more because of the industry, I would say, rather than because of being a woman or not being a man. So that is my personal
Right.
thought here.
So, firstly, I think the world is changing, and Krishna's right. There is a lot more space, a lot more understanding, and a lot more women themselves coming together to support women entrepreneurs. Like, for instance, the US has multiple, seed funds, investor funds, access to accelerators, incubators that are mostly primarily run by women,
Women, yeah.
and their focus is to actually find women and non-binary people to actually fund them and get them capital and funding to sort of take their ideas out into the world. So I think there is space, and there is a lot of conversation around how to make this change happen. So
Mm.
even in India, there are a lot of women running businesses today. You will see them. Some of them are, whether you take a Nike or a Sugar, there are so many brands out there today that are run by successful women entrepreneurs who've started from scratch and seen the story through. Right? Look at Mama Earth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there are
Brilliant.
so many incredible stories of women in entrepreneurship who have amazing support from the fraternity and the community. I know for a fact that I'm part of a trust called the Women Orbiting Women Trust. It's a microfinancing based kitty. It's called the Wow Kitty. It's based on a kitty model. We meet once a month. We collect about 1,000 rupees per woman per head, and that money goes into an infinite fund, and that fund invests in rural women entrepreneurs.
Oh,
And so far, we've supported 3,000 rural women entrepreneurs in India, and we have like a 0% interest loan that goes to them, and then the money comes back, and then we reinvest.
oh,
And it's amazing that there are loans as small as 5,000 rupees that women take, to get their businesses up. So from flower sellers to taxi drivers who want to buy a car, to women who have stitching and sewing and embroidery machines, they've supported this entire ecosystem. And one of the things that I see is women are amazing at paying back loans. Right till
yeah.
COVID, we had 100% repayment ratio, and now it's dropped to 92, and it's coming back. So when you look at women generally, and when they stand as guarantors for each other, there is more statistical data to reveal that in the long run, women are more likely to long run. There's a lot more tenacity, there's a lot more resilience that women have. So when you look at entrepreneurship, those are some of the skills that are most needed as well. So, there's a lot of experience that I've had meeting these women who are from small towns, running small businesses, but who have such gumption and grit that it's so encouraging to see. So I think it's like Krishna said, it's part of that wave of change that we're in, and I'm very, very encouraged, and I'm very excited about looking at what lies ahead.
Right, right. Cool. Krishna, tell me something. How does Smart 11 as a product address the urban and rural women's concern in a day-to-day life? So how is your product reaching out to the women, and how does it help them address the issues of current, the kids who have are apprehensive to eat certain kind of homemade food? So does it really help them?
So, Vikrant, like you rightly pointed out, there are we have two kind of consumers. We have the urban as well as the rural consumer. So, first we come to the urban consumer because we our concern, our brand is actually currently at least it is targeting the niche consumers, the urban nuclear families where both husband and wife are working and they have children, and it's a fast paced life. You don't have much time to cook elaborately. So when you talk about a mother who wants to make something which is delicious at the same time healthy, she generally looks up to packed foods. Even if we try to deny it, but that is the fact, because there are a lot of foods available. There are a lot of foods which are genuinely healthy, and mothers look up to that instead of going for a home cooked meal. In that, our products fare really well because, say, I'll take you a very simple example. We have millet noodles. Our noodles are made out of ragi, jawar, bajra, what we call finger millets, sorghum, and pearl millets. When you look at a regular noodle, which is most popular, when you talk about a Nestle Maggie, we know that it's tasty. Like past 40 years, for decades, they've been every house almost eats Maggie at least once a week. When you know that that is made out of white flour, it's made full of oil, there's MSG, and we know the like health challenges. But because the taste is so good, it's not being able to you cannot force your child to not eat it. Children demand it. Once they've tasted it, they demand it. Now what we
Right.
do is try to give the same taste. The ideal is not like the same taste, but a very sumptuous, a very yummy taste in your noodle. But with a noodle which is made out of millets, there is no oil used in it. There is no MSG. There are no preservatives. So all the bad content of the food has gone. But it is still a
Wow.
comfort. Yes, and it's still you can cook in 5 minutes. You just add your noodles and the seasoning mix to boiling water, and it is done. So when a mother, imagine like a mother knows that her child loves to eat noodles, but when she is without having guilt, she can give our noodles to her child, where she is assured that there is no health repercussions on a child after eating Smart 11 noodles, because there is nothing wrong with the noodles. Everything is perfect. It's made out of millets. There's no oil. There's no MSG. There's no preservatives. So this is exactly where perfectly win the urban consumers requirement. um, our products are nutritious, they're delicious, they're easy to cook, and at the same time, they satiate hunger. This is something which anybody, like even it's like a man who's just come home at 9 o'clock from his place, he can come and he can have a noodles. He can cook it in 5 minutes. So that is the urban consumer whom we are targeting currently through our noodles, pastas, cookies, etc. Coming to the rural space, what we plan to do as a part of my journey when we were exploring that what is it, where does the millets come from, where is it, sourced from, especially in Maharashtra. We had taken an a small trip to Parbhani, which is in Vidarbha region of Maharashtra, which is the strongest
Marathwada.
grower of Haji Marathawada. It is the largest grower of Jawar and Bajra in Maharashtra. And so we met a lot of women, through a self-help group, which was supported by the local politicians out there. We got a chance to
Hmm.
meet them, and all these women, they are having this entrepreneurial spirit. They're making small, they're like papads and small little laddus, etc., and they're selling their products out of it. So our idea is what we wish to do in the near future, that we procure these products. Once we are strengthening our markets,
Mm-hmm.
our supply side we have, demand side we are strengthening. We plan to go to these self-help groups who are making millet-based laddus, papads, a lot of other products which might traditionally not go in the urban basket. But there's a good market, for a lot of like 2 tier, 3 tier cities. We plan.
Krishna, just wanted to know, I mean, how do you generate your revenues and, to scale up your business? And do you have any kind of partnership with or collaborations, that your company has formed to generate your revenue? Or is it just a bootstrap where it is self-funded? How does it work?
You're asking a very controversial question, huh? Very secret
Yeah.
question. Huh?
I'll
So,
ask,
with
like, I'll answer only the things which I want to reveal, not the other secrets.
yeah.
Let them come in the news
Yeah.
after some time. But so
Let,
currently we are by ourselves. We are bootstrapped. We have this government grant at the same time. We have. Not exactly, I wouldn't say a collaboration, but we have certain B2B markets where we are strengthening our position. In fact,
okay.
I did mention this, every opportunity an entrepreneur gets to, plug in sales, we tend to do that, now we become a salesperson from a marketing person. So when Ashish asked me, like, I want to do this interview with you, so I said, like, okay, can you get me a chance to speak to your canteen people so we can introduce our products in, Tata? So
Definitely.
yes, because we're
Yeah.
already doing that in a couple of corporates here in Pune, wherein because you'll have these noodles and pastas in the menu, so they could be the healthier versions, made out of the regular what do you say, atta or maida noodles. And apart from that, in the cafeteria also we can play. So I wouldn't say it's like a direct collaboration, but then we have access to almost 150 corporates in Pune and some of them in Bombay, wherein we are trying to. So we've been successful in around 7 to 8. It's just around 3 months back we have started it. So wherein we associate with them, we are trying to place our products in the cafeteria. Of course, one of the major challenge has been, unfortunately, that people are working still from home, especially in the IT companies. So
Mm.
we are hoping that in the next couple of months, the it will be 100% attendance,
Attendance.
physical presence of the employees. So that would actually boost up. So unfortunately, we are on the side of the government who wants employees coming back to the companies and
Yeah.
working, so we can have more of the sales of our products. So
No,
that
no,
is
you
one
are welcome.
collaboration which we have. And corporate is our consumers. They look for healthy stuff. They want something instant. So sometime back, we had an event in BMC software. So it's like the company itself is procuring our products for their consumers. I'm sorry, for the employees to have it throughout the day. Requirements. So like something which we were planning to do in Norway, they have these barbecue flavors, etc., which goes with the noodles, or they want it as a on their khakra is sold as crackers. Actually, the golas have it with their drinks. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I'm very sorry, but so they have it. Yes, and we have the flavorings which they require. The seasoning mix like a barbecue or a peri peri, etc. So
Yeah.
there's a huge demand for them because they know they are gluten free khakras. They are there's no oil, there is no white flour. So consumers across the world are same. If you put it in their language, give them what they want. Locally is their acceptance. I think
True.
we just get into their books very easily.
Very
So
true.
yes,
Very true.
that's
So
what we are.
Shreya, what is your view of switching from a stable professional career to an entrepreneur? I mean, have you ever thought of it? Do you have any competition? I mean, I'm sure you have competition. So how do you manage your competition? I mean, how do you differentiate your product from your competitors?
We do have competition. There are some good number of brands, but all of us are sailing in the same boat. It's more of experiencing a brand and probably take over. So there's no strong brand which says that I have a monopoly out here and somebody else can kind of our competition is actually to the unhealthy options. If I would say, like, my product is all the time compared with a noodle. So on all the other factors, it might just win. On the price factor, it might not win. So a customer who doesn't want to pay, say, like, आपका product बहुत महंगा है. So that way,
Mm,
competition is all the unhealthy, cookies, all the unhealthy noodles, etc. Within us,
mm,
millet, yes, there are a couple of brands who are doing well, but then because everybody has a territory, and this is more of an experimenting product. So more number of consumers on a daily basis are coming and experimenting with
mm.
millet products. So that way we don't have like a restricted market right now. There's no saturation in the market. We've just started. So we have a good strong global market. So there's good enough space for all the products. Some products actually focus on children, some products for diabetic people. What we've done with our brand, we are not calling ourselves we're calling ourselves more of a it's not like you require the prescription of a doctor to eat a product. Like if you want to eat healthy and you go out and just buy an oats product, you don't require a
Mhm.
doctor's recommendation. You will just buy it yourself. So that is the category where we want to be. That it's something which is healthy, but at the same time, it's like delicious, and you can eat it any time of the day. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So Shreya, when you were frozen, I was just very intrigued to know. I mean, you have a very stable profession and AVP marketing. So have you ever thought of switching to entrepreneur?
So, interestingly enough, I ran my own consulting firm for 4 years, much before the entrepreneurship
Oh,
journeys of people had hit. So, this was in my 20s, and I ran a complete consulting sort of a thing where I worked with multiple brands and so yeah, and today I support a lot of entrepreneurs. I advise a lot of startups in different stages. So I sit on the advisory boards of different kinds of startups across different industry segments. So I'm very close to the entrepreneurship sort of ecosystem that way.
right.
So I get my high and my mojo from it. So
Good, good, good. Right. So Krishna, I see that being a woman, there are a lot of responsibilities on you apart from just
Yeah,
managing your business, family. So how do
family.
you
Yeah.
manage your work-life balance? I mean, can you tell us something in particular, some experiences of yours where you would have faced challenges managing the family and the business, and how do you tackle all these things?
My family's given up on me.
Okay.
also, if fun fact, Krishna, if you were a man doing this, you wouldn't have been asked this question.
See,
Actually,
that's
that is
the thing.
that's the thing. Yeah. No, because see, a
But,
woman is empowered with so many
yes, yes, yes.
things. That
I mean, let's take
you
it positively because they know that women can handle both. They know that men would
Yeah,
handle
yeah.
only one bit of it. So
multitasking, very
we'll take it
important.
as a compliment. Yeah.
Right.
Uh, but jokes apart, I'll tell you what, Vikrant. First of all, because as an entrepreneur, as a startup entrepreneur, you're so engrossed in that, and especially because my industry is also not something. It is a startup industry by itself, so we have like double challenges. If you're in the tech world or you're doing a regular FMCG and you're saying, okay, we came, but millets itself is like a baby industry. Now it's getting a bit of recognition, so we'll take at least like a decade to stabilize as an established industry. So there's a lot more to happen. So what happens is that everything I have to do, there's a lot of figuring out of things which I have to do. My family has been extremely supportive. My parents have been very
Hmm.
supportive. Since probably I'm not married, and that is the reason I don't know, had I been married, and had children, maybe things would have been different. But then I know of many entrepreneurs, fellow peers who actually are managing it along with the family. But considering that you I'm getting like I'm sometimes working till 11 o'clock in the evening. I know had I had a family, it wouldn't have been that easy. They would
Right.
expect me to be. It's not about doing a housework, but it's more about having that family time. Your family would expect that. So
Yes.
currently, I'm happy, but probably the focus is so much that I have not concentrated on my personal life. There are hardly any parties which I go. There is hardly any get-togethers which I go. Like I hardly meet friends because I use that time. That what is it that I can do to enhance my business. But it's like a tapasya. I see it is something that if today what effort you're putting in, and it's not for me. Many entrepreneurs, most of the entrepreneurs feel that those few years while you're trying to set up and stabilize, if you like show up every day, it's like the universe's way that yeah, I know
Yeah.
you worked hard, and you will be rewarded for it, and I do see the rewards also coming. So I guess my family is being supported. Tomorrow they know that something big is going to come out of it, and probably they have that confidence in me. So touchwood, I'm very lucky that way, to have my family support.
Good.
I don't know if that answers
Uh,
your question again.
so Shreya and Krishna, both of you, this is something which I am asking you for my own, vested interest. What percentage of role do you think does telecom or IT technology or new age digital marketing play in a new startup? I mean, do you think technology like telecom setup and IT setup, and these things are very important for a startup? I mean, to manage your businesses, do you think it really helps you, or do you know that there are a lot of these kind of technologies in telecom and IT which can enable your work to, enable your marketing, your work, and your leads, and you to reach out to a larger platform? I don't know whether you're aware. There are a lot of things because we are from the telecom space. Uh, we have a lot of companies that we are recently and newly tying up with for enhancing their experience with the customer also. Like simple thing, like I'll tell you what. Today you have khakra as your product. Do you have a customer care where if there is some issue which the person wants to report to? Do you have something which they can call up and they can say, "Oh, I had this problem with your khakra," or the vendor is not giving me the right price, something. So, do you have some number where people can reach out to or something like that? And Shreya, you also, I mean, you are a veteran at the marketing. So, do you think that technology and telecom is an important and integral part of this?
I
I like
do.
Shreya first. Yes.
Yeah, so I think firstly, a lot of times because there is not enough awareness, a lot of brands try to reinvent the wheel of things that already exist.
Right.
There are a lot of stacks now, tech stacks that come for various parts of your business,
Right.
whether you're looking at operations or marketing, the entire life cycle of a business, there is tech stack that's available for each part of it, each segment of it. So you
True.
you don't really have to go into it and really break your head about building it from the scratch. So I think it's important to have the right kind of people advising you on what is it that you're using, whether it's technology, whether it's AI, ML, you know,
Right.
the latest quote that's doing the rounds is saying AI is not going to replace you, but somebody who's using AI will replace you.
Yes.
And the use case of AI is so diverse, like because it's not agnostic. I mean, it's so agnostic. It's not segmented to a market or a product or a sort of company. So I think there is a lot of relevance to bring in technology, to bring in marketing, to bring in areas and segments into your business. And what a lot of people think is there is a perception that a lot of this is expensive, but what they
Right.
don't realize is the cost versus impact. So I keep bringing attention back to one is low cost, high impact. So there are low cost, high impact options. And two, the cost that you're incurring this year, the impact that it'll have in year two, year three is long standing. So, how do
Exactly.
you measure that and how do you really make the right choice makes all of the difference when you're talking about tech stack and when you're talking about Mars stack and all of these pieces.
Right. Right. Krishna, what's
Yeah.
your view on this?
My view on this is that it was a lot of it was Greek to me, uh, and exactly this is the problem on the ground reality. Because I got a chance to speak to you all today, I realized that a lot of this probably even I can take for my startup, which is relatively small. We're not as big as Mama's, right? But on the ground reality, especially a startup which doesn't have a tech support, I have like processing of my products. That is the only technology I have because that also we had to buy. It's not the regular manufacturing which we can do. Apart from that, there's a lot of in terms of tech which every business requires today. But since because I have a small team and we don't have anybody who's a tech expert, I actually don't have somebody who would tell that, okay, if you introduce this, maybe it's going to cost you this much, but this is the impact, what just Shreya was talking about. So it would actually be so nice, if a regular startup like me, which is not a tech startup, a non-tech startup, be it food or services, whatever, if we are aware that these things are there, because till the time we don't discover, we don't know that it exists. I probably just know that something can make my billing very easy, something can make my entire sales storage etc very easy. So I have a bit of it which I can probably have somebody who's recommended and I'm using it. But something which can actually enhance your entire sales and marketing work, the billing, so many things are there. If we're not aware, how would we actually have how can we actually consider it? So on the ground
Exactly.
reality, most of the startups are like me.
Vikrant,
If
So let
here,
me
here
ask
I,
you 1 minute, Ashish. So let me
yeah,
ask
yeah,
you:
yeah.
are you based out of Pune or are you based out of Bombay? Where do you sit?
I'm based out of Pune.
Pune.
No problem. I can travel to Pune. I can sit with you. We can discuss these things.
Okay.
I can come
Yeah,
and
happy to help.
we can help you out to understand how to set up your tech and Marcom, and how it can enable you to market your product much better. How you can leverage on these technologies. See, as Shreya rightly said, it is not very expensive, but the impact
Mm-hmm.
of it, on the long run will make you feel so happy that it's good that you invested in this. So small small
That's
things
the
like,
thing.
yeah,
And she, because she is from that industry, she is aware of it. So if
yeah,
I get a chance to speak to Shreya, maybe she would introduce. But had it not been the case, I wouldn't know. If they are like cheap, and they can actually cheap, as in they're more reasonable, and if we can use it, for enhancing our business experience, we'll be more
right.
than happy to adapt to it. Definitely.
So I have one company that we just sold these products of our telecom products, and they are also in this food business, and they
Okay.
only do exports. They are not into local domestic market. They only do exports, and they went in for some of these products because their setup is in India, but they
Okay.
are customers abroad. So how do
Mm-hmm.
the customers abroad reach out to them in India? So that is what we did the entire setup for them.
Very nice.
So we can,
Wow.
of course, if it allows you, and if you're ever interested, we can share numbers. You can connect with us, and we can definitely help you out. That's our
Sure, sure,
expertise.
sure.
Definitely,
Sure.
definitely. I would really appreciate that. Ashish, you
Yeah,
can help us out there.
good.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much.
That is the basic idea of this initiative,
Yeah.
startup tales,
Connecting people.
Yeah.
connecting people. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Shreya, Krishna, what is your long-term goal? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Smart 11, how do you see it growing, and how many locations, how many branches? Do you have some roadmap?
Um, like I said, that some things are under wrap, but in the next 6-8 months, things which we are planning, and we want to give it a shot that we come across as one of the strongest established global brand for millets.
Right,
With
right,
our export support, we do feel that we would be in a position to do that. And vision is of course great. We want to be a very well known a health brand, but it will of course not be restricted only to millets. We talk in today's term the openness to of consumers, not just in India but abroad as well, to
right,
anything which is herbs, Ayurveda, spices, raw material coming from India. The acceptance is high, and we do feel that we just don't want to restrict ourselves to millets, but each of these things can be infused together, and we can come out with wonderful products. Like something which we are working on right now is a herbs infused millet noodle. So you have moringa, which is very good for your bones, etc. So a lot of people don't like to eat moringa, in form of a powder, or you just add to your water or something. But if it is infused in your noodles, and then you have like the flavoring overpowers the noodles taste. So you actually enjoy your noodles while you are eating your bit your what do you say, one spoonful of moringa. So these are a couple of innovations which we are working towards, because we know that the consumer wants this. The consumer wants it convenient. We are ready to give them convenience. In that way, we because of these ideas, because we have a nice and a strong R&D team who can support us with these initiatives, we'll be in a position to establish ourselves as a a big brand in the near future. Near future, as in over the next 5 years. So yeah, that
right.
is what we're working on. So.
So
Great, great.
one thing, I just want to ask one last question to you is that today, how are you managing your inbound? Do you have any inbound sales which happens? I mean, in customers calling you for your retailers calling you for products and things like that. Do you have something like that, or it is always outbound where you go and you pitch your product?
The pitching happens, but then because if you're in a certain territory and you see that your product is being picked up well by the consumers, then the other distributors obviously get
Yeah.
in touch
Now,
with you.
have you ever faced issues where somebody is trying to call you, and it could be a prospective lead, but you are on a call and you missed that call, and you missed the opportunity to reach out to that person. Do things like this happen?
I'm sure they happen all the time, Vikrant, because I'll be very honest. We are not a very strongly tech-enabled company right now. So we have a
Right.
team of sales and marketing people who take care of distribution, etc. So there would be certain calls coming to me because a lot of people would know me as a millet founder, but my team handles that. But obviously because the level of seriousness probably which I have for my business, my employee might not have. He might miss up on a call and not bother to kind of reply back. So I think
So
those things can
that's where I'm coming from. You don't have an overview of the lead leakages that are there happening at your back end. Your sales and marketing team. You don't
quite
have the
possible.
lead leakage details. So this is
Right, right.
something you can look at our product, which is called Smart Flow. It's a cloud telephony service where we can leverage your inbound sales and your outbound sales. You can have a complete overview sitting anywhere in the world that you are, anywhere I mean in the world. You just open your laptop, you can see which of your salesperson is talking to whom, what is he talking to, what time did he speak. You can have complete recording of the discussions. So there is a complete this can really help you. So this is one of the small products that we can discuss about.
Definitely, definitely. Like I said, like whatever technology can help us, we can always explore it. We don't know how many things we'll immediately pick up, but then we definitely are wanting to do that because as in how you grow, it's not practically possible to handle things just manually. So we definitely would
Right.
want to
Great.
be a more tech enabled startup. It can help us.
So what
Thanks,
advice would you like to give? Any advice to the women
yes.
entrepreneurs, Shreya, you also, and Krishna? I
Yeah,
mean,
closing line, Shreya and Krishna.
Shreya can go ahead first. I'm sure because she's exactly more with
Yeah,
startup. I'm just talking from my experience.
yes, he has to go also. Yeah.
Shreya, you there? So
Okay,
Krishna, why don't you? Yeah, Shreya is there. Yeah.
Shreya's
Yeah,
back
Shreya,
here.
a closing line from you.
I think it's amazing to see women entrepreneurs like Krishna chasing, creating spaces, and really looking at this from a point of view of how can we make change happen with passion, with purpose, with commitment, and of course, the ability to make that leap into something that is so new and so different. I think hats off to you, Krishna. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Shreya.
Thanks.
Thank you for
Thanks
the
a lot, Krishna.
appreciation.
Thanks, Krishna.
Thanks.
Closing line from you.
If I had to say anything to my fellow women entrepreneurs, I have a very simple thought. It's it's your passion. Do it for yourself. It's not to please anybody else. When you're doing things for yourself, what makes you happy, what it gives you that inner satisfaction. Just go ahead and do. And trust me, if you look at negative, you'll see only negative. You'll see only problems. If you see an opportunity, you end up only seeing opportunities and working on that. So. Yes, women entrepreneurs are there. There are male entrepreneurs, or we are just entrepreneurs. An entrepreneurial journey by itself is very exciting. Don't have this. If you're going to cry about things about being a woman or being coming from a small time, and if you want to look at problems, you will. Otherwise, you just see that there are opportunities equal for everybody. How best you can make use of it. You will be successful at it. So that is just my
Okay.
thought and advice to women entrepreneurs. Yes, keep doing
Thank you
it
so.
and reach your goal.
Thank you. Thank you so much
So
Thank,
finally, thanks
your time.
Shreya and thanks
Yeah,
Krishna for
thanks a
your
lot.
valuable time. And thanks
thank
Vikrant
you
for being
so much.
such a nice host for this startup tales.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye
we'll
bye.
meet up
Thank you
soon.
so much for
Thank you.
having me on the show, and thank you so much for all the
Yeah.
conversation.